From EasyFX Code Trading System, and it is Thursday, the 17th of October 2019. And this is the daily analysis for Euro, Cable, and Aussie dollar. And it's just before 11 a.m. in Singapore. Let's begin with the Euro. And after a dip lower on Wednesday into the support zone, just below the 110 level, it managed to bounce back up, and yesterday it climbed higher to reach the weekly R1 level, R1 pivot level at 110.85, and crossed the resistance zone at the 110.60 level, and as well as the daily 55 EMA. And this is also partly due to still the optimism with getting a Brexit deal done with the UK. Let's switch to the 4-hour time frame. So this support zone is moved slightly higher with the dynamic moving averages of the 200 period and the 55 period EMA rising up. And we'll see whether this level now has turned into a key support or whether it may retrace lower as well. So the next key resistance zone is at the next round figure at 111. And further that, if there's further good news, there's the next weekly pivot is at the weekly R2 at 111.35. So there is a zone that it needs to get through first before it can reach the 111.35 level. Let's check the reversal Fibonacci to see whether it's possible. The 162 reversal Fib extension is at 111.07, also near the 78.6 Fib retracement level from a larger swing. Right, and yes, looks like the 200 Fib extension level aligns exactly with the weekly R2 at 111.35. So watch out for that if there's good news coming out, hopefully by today, because later this afternoon will be the start of the first day of the EU summit. So if there's a retracement, this will be a possible support level. Otherwise, it could dip lower to the 78.6 Fib retracement level at 110.50 area. And of course, if there's bad news, then it can tumble all the way back down below 110, back to the monthly pivot at 109.65, along with the weekly S1 pivot level. So I may mark this out as a next key support if this 110 level breaks, and along with this previous descending wedge trend line. And this could be a possible higher target. All right, let's move on to the cable. And on the daily chart, it has resumed its bullish bias from the previous week after a short retrace on Monday to find support at the weekly pivot at 125.16. It rebounded, and on Tuesday climbed back up to hit 128 level, and then yesterday pulled back lower, and was a volatile day yesterday because of intermittent news update on the Brexit negotiations. So the deadline has passed to get a draft deal in place, and but it's still, both sides are still optimistic in getting a deal done before the EU summit. So it could be that the legal terms and work may take longer, but politically they could agree to a deal, and that could be discussed in the EU summit as well. And if there is a possible deal based on that, then that has to be approved by UK Parliament as well as the EU Parliament on both sides. And in that case, there could be a short extension for maybe a couple months to finalize all the legal terms in the agreement. So we'll see what the outcome is within the next few hours and 24 hours as well. All right, let's take a look at the 4-hour time frame. So the next target higher up will be if it does if positive news come out from the negotiations, then it could be targeting the 1.30 psychological level, where there's the 200 pip extension as well at 129.70, and just above there's the weekly R2 pivot at 130.28. So this whole zone is a possible target zone. And if there's really positive news, then it could go all the way to the 132.00 level, where the 261.8 fib extension level is, which is just slightly above 132.08. So that could be a next possible area to target. And of course, if there's bad news or negative news, then it could tumble all the way back lower, down to this zone, to the weekly pivot at 125.16 and to the 125.00 level. So the last few days there were some economic news out from the UK. The jobs employment report was slightly lower than expected. Yesterday's CPI was also lower than expected, and later today, there's the UK retail sales figure, but all those have been overshadowed by the Brexit negotiations and possible deal. And also it helped that the last night's US retail sales figures was also worse than expected. All right, let's move on to the Aussie dollar. And it's the daily time frame, and after dipping lower through the support zone below the weekly S1, it has rebounded on Tuesday and managed to, on yesterday, Wednesday, managed to recover, and today with good news coming out from Australia with their better than expected employment data. Yeah, it's already climbed back up higher, back above the rising trend line, the weekly pivot, as well as the monthly pivot, and trying to approach the 0.6800 level where the daily 55 EMA is as well. On the 4 time frame, so dipped below the to 0.6725 area before finding support and climbing back up. And it could attempt to climb up higher as well. So the next possible target, if it breaks through the 0.68 level, then it could target the fib at just near the weekly R1 pivot level, 0.6833. That's a possible target here if it can break through the resistance. Earlier in the week, it dipped lower as the trade negotiations between US and China cooled off a bit, as China wanted to have further discussions before signing any deal on the phase 1. So that took a significant retracement before it recovered and getting positive news on the domestic front. Right, so we'll watch out if the Aussie dollar can continue higher and resume its recovery. Right, and this is trying to reach the 38 fib retracement level. If we can break through the 0.68 round figure resistance. Okay, so we'll watch out for the next day or so for the rest of the week on Brexit especially, and as well as any developments in the US-China trade talks. Meanwhile, have a good trading week and cheers.